As a filmmaker, I chose to embark on a journey of self-discovery. What I didn't anticipate was through this discovery, I learned to see and understand myself and others. Here's my family. There I am, born to loving parents. My father adopted me and my two sisters, and our family grew. The only happiness in my life was the band. It was around this time this man came into my life and then left. After high school, I was pretty much your typical American teenager. And then my life changed. I met this beautiful woman, fell in love, and we got married. We started a family. Kai was our oldest. Then Mila joined our family 2 years later. And Elin in 2008. My life was feeling pretty complete, except for discovering that my native roots was a part of me, and it drew me back to my Navajo father. So I took a trip out west.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
That is my name. I'll work on it. I'm an enrolled member of the Navajo Nation. I even remember sitting in class, and this was in high school, so this would have been either late 80s, early 90s. So we're talking not that many years ago, where I was in Spanish class and the teacher said, okay, I have to take the demographics for the class. So will all the white students stand up? And she had them stand up, and she said, will all the black students stand up? And they stood up, and there I sat alone. And she's like, Christy, you didn't stand up with either group. And I said, I'm not either one. I'm Native American. And she said, well, there's not a place here on this demographics sheet for Native American. And I said, well, I think that's really wrong. And luckily I had a good teacher, and she said, I think it's wrong too. As a girl, when you go through that awkward stage of, around 13 or 14, and you're really struggling for your identity and, changes that are happening, I think, what Mom did was just try to encourage my individuality, like appreciate it and celebrate it. And I think that helped me, because when I was about 13 or 14 was when I really started to get an interest in the Native culture and wanted to go to local Pow Wows and learn more that Native spirituality, connecting with not just nature, but your spiritual side, looking for something bigger than yourself. And then there is a sense of community, a sense of family that Native culture has that I think is really important, where if the community doesn't survive, the individual doesn't survive.
We were 150 years without our ceremonies because of all of these same issues. Mm-hmm. And it's been very hard bringing them back. There are people on the reservation that said that we're devil worshipping up there in Big Cove. And the language is so beautiful, yeah, and so complicated. And so natural when you begin to hear the way things are phrased in your own language, you will say, it's the first time I've ever been able to express myself.
Yat A, She, Ya, Robert Nakai, She. Setting up Bithni, Slint Kabaha Bahashin. Shanala A, Ya, Dagat Bahash, She, Nakai, Dana. And I'm basically identifying who I am and where I'm from and who my people are. And so I want the world to know I'm important and I fit in this world, and that's where I fit. That as a Navajo man, that I have a home, and this is my land, and this is my country, and I'm proud to be able to say who I am. The trip to New Zealand was the Maori people were asking me, how does your culture fit into being able to deal with the white society? How does that work? You know, over here they were still having the same problems, and we talked about it. And I started thinking about it, and I thought, you know, I never really thought about it very much, and so I started remembering some of the incidences that happened to me there in Blanding, where I was working and teaching, and the white people would tell me, you know, you're not like the other Indians. You know, you speak well, you're smart, and we think you're a lot better than them. And of course, my ego was inflated, and I said, yeah, I guess that's true. And I'm here to help the Indians, you know, and save them and all this. But, you know, not remembering that I was just as brown as the next Navajo. And a lot of our people choose to live the way they want to live, simple, not to have mansions. And just because they live simple doesn't mean that people need to feel like they can come in and help them become rich. When people get rich, they get sick. They're out of balance and they lose their direction.
Just got the car out of the mud. This driveway to my grandfather's house.
Morning, honey, evening, honey, it's the first time we oh, yeah, yo, you know, that's the end of that.
Where were you born?
You know where Baby Rock is?
Oh.
I was born there.
Okay.
Herd sheep is most of the job that we had when we were small. Then in 1924, we went to Shipwreck. I was only 6 years old. Then she talked. I just sit there and don't even know what she's talking about. Oh, that's not. She might as well talk to the sagebrush or somewhere. Yeah, because we don't understand. Her name was Miss Vansko. I'll never forget that name. So she had, we had that, and then probably we have to learn our ABC and 1, 2, 3 and numbers. They don't like me, you know, those Navajos, because I have high grade all the time. They talk about me and all that. I try to speak English as much as I can. They said, a black white man. My sister was going to school. She stayed with different families. Some were, and first time we introduced to each other, I just saw it. That's all. And I never forgot her. Then later on, I guess she knows who I am from there or there on.
Yes, a lot has been lost. But what hasn't been lost is the fact that we're survivors. And we've always been, our people have always been practical. And we'll do what we have to do.
Well, the first contact I had really with the reservation and living on a reservation, I didn't feel like I fit in really with either group. Because as I went to high school, I was in probably 10th grade. And I would associate myself with a lot of Native Americans. And because I was not raised on the reservation, but was raised throughout the United States, I felt like an outsider with them because they didn't make that connection with me being Indian. It was like, yeah, but you're more white than you are Indian. So then when I would associate myself with the white children, students, then I felt like I didn't belong there either because they were judging me according to their perception of what a Native American was.
Human beings in the 21st century could do something that blatantly racist and bigoted, but there it was, out of the blue. I was sitting in the library of the department researching a project, and another person who worked with the department was sitting at the table and looked at me and he says, and there was another lady sitting at the end of the table, there were three of us sitting around the table, and he said, "So, Susan, how many scalps have you taken?"
In high school, we were in a history class and we were watching a history video. The very first scene that you see in the movie is of a Native American stumbling around, trying to pick up a beer bottle, and he was drunk. And so we watched the whole video, and that was the only portrayal that they had of a Native American. After I saw the movie, I was very upset, so I went to my teacher and asked him, about it. Why would you show that? And he was not even aware that he was like, well, I didn't even realize that. I didn't even think about it.
They know nothing of who you are. You're a mystery to them. All they know is the misinformation of media. And so their assumptions are to make this childish whooping sound or to assume you're going to take a scalp or something that they don't know what to say.
There's a lot of things that we can learn from the Native American culture as far as conservation goes, as far as family, the importance of family, the importance that nature plays in everything, that if we can take the good things from the Native Americans and implement them into our lives, then it's going to be a better world for everybody. And that's what we need to think of it as. We're not all separate people. We should all be one people and helping each other and bringing in those philosophies that the Native American has, that everything has life in it, the trees, the animals. Showing respect for life is, I think, the most important thing.